After I graduated from university, there was a period in my life where I didn't really know what to do. I wasn't sure of which direction to take, especially when it came to my career. So during that period, what I did was I just spent basically a couple months just reading a ton of books, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And during that year, I basically read around 80 to 100 books to cover. And what I'm gonna do in this video is I'm gonna share with you the 6 most important books that I've read during that time that completely changed my life in a positive way. You wanna make sure you watch this video until the end because these are gonna be some of my favorite books that really opened my eyes and changed my way of thinking. So hopefully because they helped me, it can also help you guys out if you're feeling stuck as well. Now, before we get started, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and let's go ahead and get into the top 6 books that changed my life. Now, the first book that really made an impact on me was Trust Me, I'm Lying: Confessions of a Media Manipulator by Ryan Holiday. So Ryan Holiday, back in those days, I actually read quite a bit of his books, and the first one I started out with was Trust Me, I'm Lying. Now, the reason I read this book was because I was thinking about going into marketing, but I wanted to learn a little bit more about that kind of business or what that career would look like. And so I just went on Amazon and I just found this book that seemed kind of interesting, right? So Ryan Holiday used to be the director of marketing, I believe, at American Apparel back in its heyday when it was doing really well. And basically the book talks about how he used a lot of manipulative strategies to really grow American Apparel and get a lot of free publicity. And so it's kind of like a tell-all of like the dirty secrets of the media world. And as I started to read it, I started to realize and see that what he was saying in the book was very true to real life, and it even is still true now. For example, a lot of media is created just to generate clicks, right? So it's like they don't really care about who you are. They don't care about really educating you. It's more about how many clicks can they get, how much ad revenue can they generate from you as a viewer, right? And also, if you kind of look at the news stories, it's like a lot of articles, a lot of news publications, right, especially the big ones that you might know, they don't really, if they don't have a story, they'll make one up, right? They'll say, oh, this CEO allegedly did this, but like, where's the source? Who said that was actually true? And then people will click it just because it's allegedly that it's gonna happen, right? And then when you look at the source of, who wrote this article, they say, oh, I got this source from this person. Then you go to that source, they say, I got this source from this person. And it just keeps going down this chain until you realize that there's no source. So somebody can make up a source and create a fake story, and then big news publications, whether it's Wall Street Journal, whether it's gonna be like Forbes or Business Insider or anything like that, they're gonna talk about it on their website, even if the source is not verified. So the main things I really got out of it is like, well, number one, the media is extremely manipulative. No matter which channel you watch, no matter what blog you read, it's extremely manipulative. And a lot of times it's just to monetize you as a viewer, right? And so that's why I don't really read too much about what's going on in the news, because it's just like, this is just false drama. It doesn't actually make any sense, and there's no value that you actually extract from it, right? Number two, that even though these strategies are quite dirty in a sense, right, where it's a lot of lies and manipulation, if you understand what these things are, when you start reading different books, different blogs, different websites, you start to see, you can get a little closer to what's the truth and what's more fictional. And you can also use some of these lessons in a positive way, not be manipulative, but understand it and kind of apply it to whatever it is you're doing. So definitely a book that opened my eyes to, the manipulative side of marketing. Now, the next book that really made an impact on me is called The Tanning of America by Steve Stoute. Now, Steve Stoute is a business executive who's pretty well known for working with like Justin Timberlake, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and basically taking those brands and matching them with, large companies that want to capitalize on their influence, right? So like if you've seen Justin Timberlake, the ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it, McDonald's commercial, Steve Stoute is involved in that, right? Or if it's Jay-Z involved in different alcohol beverages, or maybe, I'm not sure which deal he exactly did, but if Jay-Z did like a big deal with another brand like Samsung or something, he probably was involved, right? I'm not sure if he was involved in that one, but he was involved in other deals. So why did this book make such an impact on me? I think number one is that it really gave me a better understanding of what hip hop is, right? So for me, I've always been interested in hip hop since I was a teenager. So I used to do a lot of rapping when I was younger, breakdancing. I used to be really into streetwear and fashion and things like that, or men's fashion at least. And so I was kind of like pretty into this whole concept of like hip hop, right? Especially as a culture and a business. And so when I read this book, it kind of showed me that, so if you think of the idea of hip hop, right? Like what exactly is it? And this book kind of defines it, and everyone has their own definition. But for me, when I read the book and I kind kind of think about it now, it's more of like an attitude, it's more like a culture. It extends far beyond just, you know, what race you are or what country you're from, because anybody can adopt a hip hop mentality. Although, you know, obviously there was a specific origin in New York, but now it's like, it's just spread like wildfire, right? So a lot of the things that we do in our life and the things that we touch are hip hop influence, whether you know it or not. And this book was written 10 years ago, okay? And I believe a lot of the concepts still hold up today. So if you look at gaming, for example, right? For gaming, you know, gaming wasn't really seen as a cool thing. It was more like nerdy people playing games, and you know, it's like, it's not really that attractive. But now gaming has become extremely popular and it's actually cool to be a gamer. And so if you look at who are, let's say, the leading organizations right now, it would be something like a FaZe Clan. Definitely influence gaming in a positive way and change the perception. And you can definitely tell there's hip hop influences in FaZe Clan that goes into gaming now. There's also 100 Thieves, right? So for them, you can definitely see hip hop influences. You're taking streetwear and turning it into merchandise as well. So it's like, you know, a lot of different industries are being influenced by hip hop, especially like, let's say, fine art, right? Let's say Takashi Murakami, right? So if you ever seen this guy's work, definitely hip hop influence. It's pop culture art, but at the same time, you know, you definitely see the hip hop influences. It's not the same as everything else. So when I made the decision to get into sales, right, what I also wanted to do for myself was, you know, when I was learning sales on YouTube and reading different books and stuff, I didn't really feel like there was any place, like any person that I wanted to learn from that was like cool, right? It was just like older people who've been in sales for decades and they're teaching sales, which is great, but I wanted sales to be like a more fresh, young perspective. Like, why not have it be cool to be a salesperson versus just selling to make money, right? And so when I started sales, that was one of my goals, to make sales cool. And so now as I make these videos and I start teaching sales, maybe you see little hints here and there of how I'm trying to teach sales in a different way, in a more modern, a fresher approach that's very different from, you know, every other person who's teaching sales, right? And so hopefully you guys notice the difference in the style, the attitude, the music, you know, all these things put together. It's a different feeling for sure, in my opinion, I believe. So hopefully you guys see it as well. And also, if you think about this, for hip hop, right? Okay, well, number one, hip hop is the most popular genre in the world when it comes to music, right? And 10 years ago, it was not. 20 years ago, it was definitely not. And now it's the most popular in all different cultures, whether it's Asia, Africa, America, UK, you name it, you know, hip hop is popular everywhere. And the thing that really impresses me with hip hop is that it's unlikely that it will ever die, because it's one of those genres that just constantly evolves like at a rapid pace, and it takes influences from everything. It puts the best together and it becomes a new thing, right? So let's say back in the day, if, you know, someone was rapping, doing hip hop, you know, what did the rap song sound like? It sounded like, "Hi, my name is Pat and I'm going to the store." And it's just like, okay, it sounds like a Dr. Seuss rhyme book, right? And then now, you know, you see all the different genres of hip hop. There's like Drake, there's Future, Kanye, and they sound very different and avant-garde in a sense for some people, right? And so it can morph into something that will never die, because it just keeps taking the best things, putting it together and creating something new. So I realized if I apply that mentality to anything I was doing, especially when it came to business, hopefully, you know, whatever I do never dies as well, because I can keep innovating because of that mentality. I'm not stuck to the old ways of how things are done. You know, I'm always looking for the new way, looking for a way to innovate, to take it to the next level and offer a different perspective. And so that's the big lesson I got from there. If you're interested about how the idea of cool works and how you can use it to monetize, definitely check out The Tanning of America. Okay, the next book that we have is The 4-Hour Workweek. Now, I'm sure that anybody who does like a book review, especially if it's on YouTube, they probably have read this book. There's a reason for that, right? It's actually a very good book. I know the title sounds kind of sleazy, or not sleazy, but like a little like a scam, right? 4-Hour Workweek. How can you only work 4 hours? That's like an hour a day. But the core concepts of the book, despite how the title sounds, are solid, right? The main thing I got from this book is I learned about this idea of lifestyle design and lifestyle business, right? So in traditional idea of businesses, you have to work extremely hard, you have to grind, you have to like spend decades of your life so you can enjoy the fruits of your labor and retire when you're 60, which is okay. But this book kind of flipped it on its head, the idea, and said, okay, well, what do you even want to do when you retire? And how can you live that lifestyle now, right? In your 20s, in your 30s, why not live the way you want to live right now and design your life and design your business to support that? And I didn't really think of that before, because I always thought about like, oh, you gotta work hard, then you get the fruits of your labor. But in actuality, you can do whatever you want. So if you wanna work hard or not work that hard and still make a lot of money, you can definitely do that, but you have to find a way that works for you, right? And so whatever it is you want to do, it's lifestyle design. You're designing your life on how you want to live it, designing it for your maximum happiness or joy or whatever you value and your core values are. It could also be maximizing the amount you give back to other people, right? You decide. And also, that's where I also learn about like internet businesses, right? So in the book, he talks a lot about, doing a business completely online, working from anywhere, as long as you have a laptop, hiring employees across the world, not just in America, and how to run these businesses using technology and the internet and different employees so that if you don't want to, you don't have to work every single day of your life, right? And make a good living doing it. So that's where I got a lot of inspiration of really thinking about like, what kind of business do I want to build in the future? And so fortunately in the future, my business right now, it is completely online. I could work for anywhere I want, as long as I got a laptop. And I moved to Asia because of how well things were going and I didn't need to live in America. So I just went over and started traveling. Definitely the concepts in the book are true. They do work, but you got to make them apply to you. And also in this book, another main thing I got is kind of like my life's purpose, right? And so as I started to read the book, I started to think about like, what am I doing? Like, what do I want to optimize for? And I came to the conclusion that there's two things that I care about. Number one is love and be loved, right? I think most people want that in their life as a human being. Number two is to inspire others, to help other people realize that they got more potential than they have and help them get to where they want to go by providing the tools, the education, whatever it may be. So now that, I kind of know that those are my two core values and what I want to do in my life, all the decisions I make are based on that. Is there the part of like love and be loved part of it? And then there's the part of inspiring others. And if, what I'm doing for a living does not align with that, then I'm not going to do it, right? And so having principles, guiding principles in knowing what I want in my life, and everyone's different, right? You don't have to be the same as me. As long as I understand my principles and I build my life around those principles, then, I can kind of feel that everything's going to be all right. Next book that we have is going to be Steal Like an Artist. So Steal Like an Artist essentially is kind of like how to take inspiration from different places, put it together to create something new. Now, in the world of creativity, like let's say creating YouTube videos, creating content, maybe starting a business, nothing is really original, right? A lot of times, companies and people are just looking at other inspirations, taking pieces of it that they feel resonate with them, and then doing something with that to kind of combine it with what they already know to make something new. And that's like new, right? But it's not really new because you can always trace back something to its origin. So that's when I kind of realized that, look, nothing is going to be totally 100% original. Anybody who says that they're 100% original, probably lying, right? Because you could always trace it back to something. So it's like also finding that fine balance of like, you definitely don't want to copy people straight up. And I definitely see people doing that, especially on YouTube. What you want to do instead is take inspiration from something and take the parts that you like and then combine it with what you already know to create something new. And so by learning that process, it became a lot more easier for me to actually like learn sales, right? Because you take different pieces and then you try it out and you see what works with your style. And then when it comes to creating videos, the same thing, right? It's not like everything I do is 100% original that just came from the genius of my mind. It's like how many, I read a book every 2 weeks. I check out other videos. I learn a lot of different stuff, not just in the sales industry, in marketing, in art, in fashion. I take a lot of inspiration from different industries, put it together to try to create something different for you guys. Now, the next book that we have is going to be The Art of Learning. So I got pretty lucky that when I was lost and didn't know what to do, I read this book. It was one of the first books that I learned by Josh Waitzkin. And essentially this guy, he was a chess prodigy. I think he won a lot of world championships. I'm not sure what championships he won, but he was quite good. Then he applied those skills into martial arts, and then now I believe he's like a peak performance consultant that helps people achieve their maximum productivity. Essentially in the book, what I got is that when it comes to learning, when you understand the fundamentals of how you learn, you basically can learn anything you want, right? Whether it's chess, martial arts, consulting. And I find the same similar with me, whether it's doing sales, doing YouTube, making content, doing marketing, doing any type of design, it's all the same thing. As long as you understand the fundamentals of the building blocks of a subject, you understand the best way you learn, you know how to deal with frustration, you learn how to get into the zone, you know how to deal with your anger, and you know how to, analyze the mistakes that you made in the past and make improvements to get better, right? So these are all like fundamental things that kind of we all know, but not all of us are always applying it to all pieces of our life, right? Whether it's our relationships, our work, core values, our health, you know what I mean? In my eyes, it's really all the same thing. If you understand the fundamentals of how you learn, you can learn anything. And when you have the confidence to learn anything, suddenly you unlock a lot of doors because you start to be like, okay, if I don't know how to do it, I'll just learn it. If you don't know how, you want to start a business but you don't know how to do it, learn how to do it and do it, right? So it's so simple. The idea is so simple, but very difficult to actually pull off. So learning how to learn, one of the best things I did. Definitely recommend this book. And the final book that we are going to talk about is The Obstacle is the Way. Now, this is another book by Ryan Holiday. Big fan of Ryan Holiday, especially back in those days. And The Obstacle is the Way was really my introduction to this idea of Stoicism. So I think what Ryan Holiday does really well is he takes Stoic philosophy, right? Like the ancient philosophy from like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. And he's able to take those lessons from thousands of years ago, kind of repackage it in a different perspective and present it in a modern way for, you know, younger audiences, right? I'm not sure what his audience looks like, but at the time I was just like, you know, in my early 20s. And, you know, that made a really big positive impact on me because I would have never read a philosophy book because it felt like it's too dense, it's not really me, but he made it more accessible and more digestible. And so The Obstacle is the Way. The main thing I got is like, the title itself kind of gives the story away, right? The obstacle is the way. So anytime I feel frustrated or I feel like I'm stuck and I don't know what to do, I start to realize that that's actually my opportunity for growth, right? Because when you're stuck and you hit a wall, that's your opportunity to break through and reach a new ceiling or, you know, get to the next level. And so the things that actually stop you or the pains that you experience in your life actually are the best lessons, and it allows you to grow as a person. So rather than thinking, you know, your life is so negative and, oh my God, why does all these bad things happen to me? If you take a more Stoic philosophy, it's more like, nothing is really bad or good. It's just your perception on whether you think it's bad or good. So if you come into pain in parts of your life, or you come into obstacles or challenges, you can think of it as opportunities for you to grow and become a better person. And actually it becomes a positive thing, right? So when I started adopting that mindset, especially as I started to learn sales, you start to know that in sales you get a lot of rejection. You feel like you hit a lot of walls, a lot of reasons for why people don't buy. And then so because I read that book in the beginning, I started to think, well, this is my opportunity to become a better salesperson. Most salespeople right here, they die. This is where their career ends, not me. This is where I'm gonna push through, right? And so when you apply that lesson to anything in your life, you know, you're always going to face challenges, whether it's for work, relationships, business, your health, just building good habits. Like, you're always going to face challenges, but it's your mindset and your ability to see these challenges as opportunities that is going to make, you know, the difference between being okay and being great, in my opinion. And so it also taught me to, you know, look for the truth, right? Rather than just like, if let's say you're in an argument, some people try to fight to be right and prove the other person's wrong. I don't do that anymore. What I do is I look for the truth. I try to see as close as possible what is the truth, and I'm okay with being wrong, right? And so by controlling my emotions in that way, being a little bit more stoic, seeking the truth, you know, looking at challenges as opportunities, it definitely helped me grow to become a better person. And then from there, I started to get it into, you know, the other philosophers and started to actually read the, you know, the original books written thousands of years ago. But if you're someone who's, you know, not really sure what Stoicism is and never really got into philosophy, just check out The Obstacle is the Way, because I highly recommend it. It's an easy way to get started. And so there's gonna be the 6 books that made a very positive impact on my life. So you wanna make sure you check out these books if any of them sound interesting, because, you know, books are cheap, right? 10, 15 bucks, and it can actually change your life. And so with that said, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and let me know in the comments, you know, did you resonate with any of these books? Did you read them? What's your favorite book, right? And my name's Petra Deng, and I'll see you guys in the next one.